Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen. I'm Elisa. Just letting you know the giveaway for the month of September is the Golden Art Nouveau. I'm going to feature this later on in the reading. But if you want to enter, you want to go to the September monthly reading. It's on the main page of the channel. I'm going to link it here too. That reading is like an overall reading for the month. And the giveaway is headquartered there. You can find links for it in the description, and it talks about in the video how to enter. I'm going to the Mystical Shaman Oracle for just to start the reading. This is my favorite deck, and it was the giveaway for July. I think it was for July. It's taken forever for it to like get shipped, though. I shipped it, and I feel like it's taking, I don't even know if it's arrived yet. It's taking forever to get there, so I hope it's gotten there. I wrote to them and asked them, you know, what's going on, and nobody's responded yet, but I'm gonna check into that again tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm pulling some cards for the reading. The overall reading for September was called Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. So it was just talking about like major like obstructions, sort of like being removed. So it's kind of like, you know, like an ascension. Is because like when, you know, your external world and your internal world are related. So when things change internally, they also change externally. So it's just sort of like if this big obstruction is being removed in your external world, there's something happening internally as well. So some big lesson or some huge healing event is going on. So at the bottom of the deck we have the Crow, and this is interesting. This is a card of like, it speaks to the truth, like the truth being known, you know, like coming to the surface. And yeah, I feel like I did a reading about this, and I feel like it was like at the eclipse. It was like the blood moon eclipse. I'm going to link that reading because it might be relevant here. But the truth is coming out, you know. And we have thunder, the ancient ones, and the lower world. So this is interesting because this was a big energy that came through on the reading for the Lion's Gate. So I'm going to link that reading also. It's for 8/8, the portal. So that's like a big portal of like healing, like inner wounds. And so it's interesting that that's coming up now. That we got the blood moon eclipse and Lion's Gate portal coming up in this reading so far. So we've got thunder. So this is a card of like a huge sort of like it's kind of like a reality check, you know. It's just sort of like something is coming into your awareness, and like it's like forcing a change, you know. It's just like it's kind of like a tower moment. And it's interesting because we also have this energy of this truth coming to the surface. So it's just like some truth is like coming out, and it's really shaking things up. Like that's what it looks like. This looks like a really dramatic moment. And then we have the ancient ones. So this speaks to ancestors. So, you know, we have ancestors in our spiritual realm that are like always guiding us and watching over us. For me, I've been feeling this energy very strongly because my father just passed away, you know, recently. And so I've definitely been getting a lot of messages from him. And people think it's weird because it's just like, it's undeniable when it happens, and it happens so often that like I think people are kind of intrigued by it. But like my dad and I were super tight, so he's still here, you know. And then we have the lower world. So this is a card of like healing deep wounds that are like really embedded in your unconscious realm, you know. Is like you know, in the world of the shaman, it's just like they talk about these sort of like journeying, you know, to the lower world. And this is where you kind of like reconnect with like parts of your consciousness that you've sort of like dissociated from, because there's something so painful about it that you it's like you're stored away in the basement until you're ready to deal with it, you know. And so this speaks to like, you know, going down there, going in the basement and like facing whatever this fear or wound or, you know, truth is, so that you're no longer really being haunted by that, you know. Like you have to, you know, heal these wounds so that you can evolve, you know. So but this speaks to you being guided, you know. But there is some moment that's coming up where this is like a major shakeup, you know. Okay, so I'm going to the Muse Tarot to pick some overall energies. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Voices. Like, I feel like this came out in a reading recently, but that's a card of like, just sort of like, you know, there's like winners and losers, you know. In the traditional deck, you know, we've got this victor, but then there's like these two kind of people like walking away with their hearts broken, you know. Like it's just like, you know, one person wins, but then somebody else has to lose, you know. And it's like it didn't have to be that way, you know. And so it's like, in a way, I mean, it's really sad, because like nobody wants to like win at the expense of somebody else, you know. I mean, it's just it's not how you want to do things, you know. Oh, that one flipped out upside down, which is cool. I mean, it's whatever. It's just like I'm kind of anal about not having cards upside down, so it's a big deal when they turn upside down. Okay, the colors of this are like really. I love this. The colors of how these cards go together is really wild. But at the bottom, we have the Seven of Voices. So this card really speaks to a reality check. And it's like there's these two worlds here, you know. And there's like this darker lower world, which is interesting because we're speaking of the lower world here. But this is like in black and white. So it's like there's some... It's like almost like there's like this sort of like delusional reality or something that's not really fully developed, you know, like in full color yet. And so it's like there's this shakeup because there's like this confrontation between sort of like the way you thought things were and actually the reality, you know. And so, you know, this when the truth is exposed, this can be like a difficult moment, you know. So, it's interesting. So we have the Three of Inspiration. So this is a card in the traditional deck. It's like the Three of Wands. It's like waiting for your ships to come in and like manifesting something off in the distance. And like, but in this deck, it has this interesting artwork, which is sort of like this domino effect, you know, like, so it's just like something's being set in motion here. And it's interesting because it falls right under this Thunder card. And it's crazy how these cards, the artwork goes together. I mean, like the colors and also just the shapes. It's just like, okay, so this boom is happening and it's going to set some chain of events in motion, you know. Whatever this truth is, it's going to cause this big shakeup, but like it's not, it's going to have some like major ramifications because it's setting like all these dominoes, you know, in motion. So it's just sort of like, okay, this looks like there's going to be impacts that are going to happen from this that you don't even know yet, but it's going to be like much more profound than you realize right now, you know, like this is big. So then we have the Ancient Ones And on top of that, again, the colors of these cards go together. We have the Devil, which is a card of like toxic situations and like, but it's interesting because this card is flipped upside down. So it's like a card of like overcoming this, you know, like you've like healed, like you're no longer, it's so cool how these colors though, I mean the colors and the card go together. So it's like your ancestors are helping you, guiding you through this healing. So it's just like, you know, in the readings that have been coming up in the last, you know, recently, it's talking about healing, you know, these patterns where it's like you might be attracting this cyclical pattern of this certain situation over and over again, and then like the circumstances might change, but it's actually like a similar situation that keeps arising, you know, when it's always like you have to heal something within yourself so that you're no longer attracted to that situation anymore. So it's like, for example, someone could be like attracted to like a super toxic relationship or a toxic relationship pattern and keep getting into that pattern over and over again and not really understanding why, you know, but then realizing, oh, like I had to heal this thing within myself to attract a different situation to myself, you know. So like this person is like overcoming whatever this is, you know. So like maybe they're about to like have a good relationship come online, or, you know, I mean, it could be anything. It could be you know, a relationship with a family, or, you know, how you deal with money, or, you know, any kind of toxic pattern that you might be in. And then again, these colors, it's so cool how these go together, because then we talk about the lower world, and then we got the world on top of that, you know, the cosmic world, the lower world and the cosmic world. So this is like totally, this is talking about the end of one stage of life and the beginning of another one. And it's like we're going from the lower world to this totally spiritually elevated, you know, consciousness. So like healing this, and this is like triggering like an ascension event. So like whatever this truth is, it's like causing this like total reality check, which might be really harsh, a really harsh reality check for someone. But there might be like toxic relationships in your sphere of influence that need to be disrupted in order for you to like move forward, you know. I'm going to the Golden Art Nouveau, which is the giveaway for this month, to get some more cards and see if we can get a little bit more clarity about what's going on. But this looks like a huge, oh my gosh, this looks like a huge freaking shakedown, life-changing, oh my gosh, craziness. So yeah, while I'm shuffling these, I will also mention that if you're new to the channel, the videos on this channel are arranged in a slightly less than standard way, in the sense that they're not arranged according to date or a zodiac sign, but they're arranged according to storyline. So I'll typically link videos up here that are related to the video that I'm speaking of, but I've also arranged videos on the channel in playlists where there's like related storylines, so you can also browse you can browse stuff that way too, just FYI. So yeah, interesting, crazy. Okay, wow. All right, so at the bottom we have the Hangman. So this is a card of like sort of taking a step back and having perspective on things. And often, like, when you're at this big change, you know, where, like, this, I mean, this looks like a really big turning point, because it's like you're re-engaging the world from a different purview, you know. So that's kind of what this person is doing. They're taking a step back because they're like, okay, like, I want to have a different experience now, so what do I need to do differently? And they're sort of evaluating that, you know, but, like, part of this is you might have to make a sacrifice or change something about how you're seeing things when you do re-engage in order to have that different experience, you know. But this person is sort of like taking that step back to give themselves that perspective, you know. Okay, so then we have the King of Swords, the Three of Swords, and then we have the Eight of Wands. So this speaks to this harsh truth being delivered, and it being like heartbreaking for somebody, you know, like depending on like which, you know, reality you're in alignment with. Like if you're not like quite in alignment with all the pieces here, like this might be a really difficult moment, you know, but there's some message that's coming in, you know, and it's like undeniable, you know. So it's just like whatever this harsh truth is, it's setting events in motion, you know, and then it's like turning this toxic situation upside down, like, you know. So that might be heartbreaking for someone who's like maybe in alignment with it, you know. Like it's like there are people who benefit from like toxic situations, you know, and so it's like not everyone's like not everyone's like happy sometimes when toxic situations get disrupted, you know. It depends like where you are in this sort of grand scheme of like learning the lesson associated with that, you know. But yeah, there's this message coming in, and it is going to be like the end of an era and the beginning of a new era. Like this is like undeniably going to change things, you know. And then we have the Knight of Cups, the Two of Swords, and the High Priestess. So it's interesting because it's just like some harsh truth is setting some events in motion, you know, and then we have this message of love coming in, or this like Prince Charming coming in like with a cup of love, you know. So you know, maybe that's what's going to be heartbreaking, you know, to someone, you know, because it's just like it looks like there's somebody here that's really stuck, you know. Like this is a card of like dissonance and like your energy being blocked, and this is a card of somebody, see, it's like they're blindfolded and they're blocked, you know. So they're like not seeing things how they truly are. Like this is the person that's living in this black and white reality, and it looks like and you know that is fundamentally a toxic situation. So it's like this person is gonna get their heart broken, you know, but like it's like that's what's in alignment with this toxic situation. Like that's what needs to change. Like that's what's been blocking and oppressing whatever the truth was, you know. And then we have the High Priestess. So this is someone who's like come into their power. They're like in alignment with this universe. They're like able to manifest. They're like tapped in, you know. Like this is someone who's healed this and like come into this like cosmic consciousness. So I'm gonna pull some more cards, 3 more cards from the Muse Tarot to just get some guidance about how we're gonna move through this, because this looks like a big shift, you know. And it's like overall, I mean, it looks like it's karmic. Oh my gosh. You know, and like it's what needs to happen, but like it might not necessarily be pleasant for everyone, you know. Oh my gosh. Okay. Alright, so at the bottom we have the Knight of Inspiration. So that's like the Knight of Wands in the traditional deck, you know. So this is like your player energy, you know. And we have a whole thread about this player guy who has been kind of like learning this lesson, you know. But we have the Knight of Voices. So this is like the Knight of Swords. So this is, you know, a message of truth or clarity coming in, you know. So we have this harsh reality check, setting situation in motion. But like, yeah, like someone's coming through with a message of love. And then there's also a message of truth and clarity coming in. So it's just sort of like, I'm not sure if this truth is what was like blocking this love from like moving forward, but whatever it is, it's getting moved out the way, you know. And then we have the Hanged Muse, which is this same energy again, you know. So like having perspective, you know. So it's just like, this is going to be heartbreaking, and it's going to actually, gaining this perspective is what's going to release this blockage. But that's kind of what needs to happen in order to bring in this different experience, you know. And so it's just sort of like, it's going to be painful to turn this upside down, this toxic energy, but like you do have this guidance here, you know. And this is ultimately going to be a good thing. However, we also have the Nine of Voices. So there's going to be a lot of fear and anxiety that's going to be released. And I feel like there was a reading recently where it was talking about, you know, this is inevitably going to be part of this change. And you have to be like really conscious about letting that go. You know, like that's going to be part of it. You know, just like letting that go. So, kind of crazy. But this looks like a real big shift. Okay, I'm going to Starseed Oracle, which was, I feel like this was the giveaway for June. I'm doing all these giveaway decks because I'm really starting to build some community over here. Okay, so I'm going to, okay, that one really wanted to come out. All right, I got two. So we got Lost Lands, Soul Memories and Gifts. You've done this before. So, you know, you've got your ancestors guiding you, and you're going to know what to do. So, you know, trust what you know, and you are not alone. You have your ancestors guiding you, have your community around you. You've got this, you know. But be super conscious, like, don't hang on to the fear, you know, let it go, let the truth reign, and, like, stay in alignment with that, because this is going to be, like, a huge, profound healing, but it's leading to good things, so, keep your head together. We'll check back with you soon with another reading. And before I sign off, I also just want to remind you, if you're interested in the ketones, I've got several links down below about the ketones. Like, I am like going through this profound experience with the ketones. I think I'm going to do a separate video about that because it's just profoundly healing, and on so many levels. It's because it kind of like uses your body's own like mechanisms for doing this, and it's profound. For your brain, for your body, for your muscles, for your, I mean, everything. There's a video below explains how it works. There's also a video below that has my testimonial, and a video or a link. There's links below where you can get them. So check that out, and we'll be back soon with another reading.